How do I deal with adversity in the workplace? How do I deal with a colleague who is taking all the credit of the work, even though we did the project together? I get these questions pretty much every single day from my clients and other. So what I'm going to share with you today is really how to deal with this problem of adversity in the workplace while also not letting yourself down, while showing up for yourself. Let's see. Hello, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Saturday Night Live. My name is Dr. Nabila Diab, and I am an executive leadership coach, CEO of Transformative Consulting, where we work on transforming people's minds so as they live life on their own terms. So one of the questions my clients have and it's on their mind, it's Nabila, sometimes there is this adversity in the workplace, and I feel awkward. I feel embarrassed, like somebody who is like minimizing my role in the project, or taking the best part of the ownership of the project, even though you did it together, or probably you did the best part in the project. Sometimes managers do that, and I'm not biased, of course. We have great managers as well, but sometimes out of oversight, or maybe deliberately, or people tend to overlook the role, and now you are in a situation where there is adversity. So today I'm going to tackle this specific question, which is like, I have at work somebody who is trying to take ownership of the whole project, and I feel like if I'm going to speak up, I'm going to embarrass her. It's not going to look good on her and on myself. And I don't want to undermine her, and I don't want to undermine her position. And we say, "Yalla, okay, let it go." And but the truth is, this is extremely important and extremely impactful. So if you are a lady or a gentleman in a career or in a position, and you find yourself in that meeting where somebody is taking the whole, hello, Michael Fox, and everybody loves Michael Fox. How are you, my friend? So, how do we deal with that adversity in the workplace? How do we, show up, stand up for ourselves, while at the same time, kind of not undermining the other person? Now, so first of all, tell me, Michael Fox, VM, Wafa Jabran, thank you all for coming on the call and catching this live. How do you deal with adversity, with somebody trying to if you like, take full credit of a project that you did together? So I'm asked a lot this question, and actually it's a very important question, because it has to do with how you show up in the workplace. Like, the first thing we need to know is that if we don't address it, if we just say, let it go, Nabila, you don't need this, you don't need the aggravation, this has a price. So this has a price in terms of our self-image. This has a price on our confidence or lack of, because every time we let it pass, every time we let somebody, so to speak, step on our toes and does not acknowledge us, we are actually tearing a chip from our self-confidence. So any decision you make, any step you take, it has a price on your self confidence level. So the first thing, what do you think? First of all, how do you deal with such a situation? Michael Fox, where are you? Hello, hello, Mr. Abd Rabba. Hello, Abd Bara. Abd Bara. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and I'm super delighted of your messages and your connections. So thank you so much, Mr. Abd Bara. Okay, so how do we deal with adversity in the workplace? How do we deal with this? So the first thing, today's live is going to be pretty short and straight to the point. But the first thing you want to do is that you don't want to let this pass. You don't want to let this pass. You want to address it. So your mind might be going, oh, erratic. Why do I need to do this? Isn't it better just to let it pass? It's not such a big deal anyway. It's not a big project anyway, and so on. Now, this may not be a big project, or it might not be the optimal, kind of make it or break it project you are working on, but um, the impact on how you show up at work is going to be impacted. Hi everyone, hello, hello. So can you please, I have a LinkedIn user. Can you please mention your name? It's not showing up because I'm using StreamYard. So adversity in the workplace. So let's suppose, for those who are catching up at this point in time, let's suppose you are in a meeting or you are in a function, and somebody is trying to take the full credit for the project, for example. How do you deal with it? How do you rectify it? Would you let it pass, or would you deal with it immediately? So show me in the chat. Would you let it pass? Say, that's okay. I don't need this aggravation. I don't need this. Not big deal. It's not a big deal. Or would you say, no, I'm going to deal with it. I have to deal with it. So what do you think? Deal with it or let it pass? One, let it pass. Two, deal with it immediately. So is it one or two? Annabella Maban, will you deal with it or will you let it pass? So let it pass. One, type up one if you will just let it pass, and two, if you will deal with it immediately. What do you think? Deal with it. Deal with it. LinkedIn user, the one who said deal with it right now, can you please type up your name, because I cannot see you from the application I'm using to stream on LinkedIn. Annabella Maban, deal with it immediately. Okay. Rawan Athagafi, good evening. Deal with it. Amazing. Riham Al Abdali, let it pass. Let it pass. Okay, interesting. We have some interesting thoughts here. Annabella says, deal with it. Ziba is here. Let it, and Ziba is going to deal with it. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. Now, the decision to deal with it or not, even in the small detail, is always going to have an impact on your self-confidence level, on your self-esteem level, on your self-image level. We have to understand everything we do consciously, we take a conscious decision I'm not going to talk to her. I'm not going to rectify the situation. I'm not going to, I feel embarrassed, Why would I do that? It's okay, it's a small thing. That when you do that, when you don't stand up for yourself, when you don't show up for yourself, your subconscious mind is taking records of that. We have to understand that our subconscious mind is taking record of everything we do. Wafa Jabran, deal with it. Rawan, I see your name, but there is somebody else. Lamis Al Kati here. It should be dealt with, but that is really hard and can have consequences, correct? So maybe I would say pass until you know how. The how seems to be the issue, Lamis. Lamis, good evening. The how seems to be quite an issue. Okay, so I'm going to show you the how. Lamis. Donald Veloso, good evening. Donald, delighted to have you in here. Ziba, your name is clear here. I can see it. But it was Donald who I couldn't see. Thanks so much for joining in. Donald, what do you think? What do you think? In a meeting where there is adversity and a colleague or maybe a coworker or maybe even like you're applying or although we do not expect them to do this, but he or she is taking ownership of the project, like you're presenting the results, and she's taking the ownership of the whole project and not acknowledging you. What do you do? What do you do? Would you let it pass? You say that's fine, not big deal, let it pass. At the end, uh, people know that I did the work, or you say no, I'm going to deal with it immediately. Amazing, amazing. Now the truth is, we have to deal with it, and we have to deal with it immediately, or the next time you are in a meeting like that, you have to be prepared in terms of how to deal with it. Because when you don't do it, I'm repeating this probably, let it pass, no way, Ziba says. Because Hamdan Hussein, good evening, sir. How are you? So we are talking about a situation where you are in a meeting and somebody is taking ownership of the whole project, even though you contributed a big part of it or probably the best part of it. Sometimes you might have done the whole work, yet here is somebody, taking or trying to take the ownership of or taking the full credit for the work. It's a wrong kind of encouragement. Okay, Ziba, we are getting there. Now notice the most impactful impact, shall I say, is on you, because the moment you make a decision that you are not going to deal with it and you cringe and you shy away, that's actually fear-based behavior. Fear-based behavior. And anytime you do that, it has a cost. It's every time you decide not to do it, it's like you're tearing a chip, you're taking a piece of your self-confidence and you're taking it away. But anytime you do it, anytime you do stand up for yourself and you do address it properly, and we are going to discuss how to address it properly and tactfully, then this is going to add the credit to your self-confidence balance, so to speak. So who wants, sooner or later, everyone knows it, but it has to be dealt with. Sooner or later, everyone would know. But fast, I would agree with you, Mr. Uh, I'm dead. I'm dead, Hussein. I would agree with you. But wouldn't you agree that sometimes certain things, when they don't happen in due time, when they are not caught up in due time, they have impacts? We see people, and I'm sure around, you see people who are, they know how to my students call it, they know how to brand themselves, they know how to if you like, advertise for themselves. They know how to show themselves under a very good light. They know how to use their strengths to magnify, this, or how they show up in meetings, or how. So it's a checks and balances in self confidence. Not wait for sooner or later. By then, damage would be done. So it might be that if we leave it to later, because it's all about, this is a word where people are making, decisions about you from the first 20 seconds. From the first 20 seconds, they look at you. From the first 20 seconds, they see a post on your LinkedIn profile. They make like these. We don't have time to read and look at the CV and ask people who did the work and who did this. We don't have that bandwidth anymore, and it's very important that you. So, not to belabor the point, yes, very important that you, of course, very important that you show up for yourself, and that you address this issue right on the spot. So, next time that you have this situation where somebody is taking the whole credit for something you've done together, or maybe you've done the best part of, uh, how do we deal with it? Now, first of all, the first thing we need to do, like in order to reverse this concept of adversity, is first of all to start thinking differently about adversity. So we need to understand that the people who are doing it might be doing it out of their self confidence level, their self image level, out of thinking that what they did was, yes, actually the biggest part in the project. So it might be that there is no malice, there is no ill intention in there is no ill intention in the equation. Just that person feels confident, that person feels that even the little part they did in the project, while the heavy lifting was done by you, they are actually called the credit grabbers. Yes. Um, so what you're gonna do is, first of all, read good intentions and change the concept of adversity. So the way you described something, the way you describe the workplace, you say, oh, there's a lot of adversity, this person is all the time taking the credit, and so on and so forth. We are going to change it into, for example, I always say, the way language defines our word. Let this sink in. Language defines our word. The way we speak about something is a precursor or is a predictor of how this thing is going to happen. So let's say, for example, start thinking differently and start describing things differently. Start, taking the word adversity and probably reframe it. And I'm going to show you how to reframe, first of all, the toxicity in the workplace, the adversity in the workplace, the haters, the naysayers in the workplace. When we start using this language, adversity, naysayers, haters, the people who are always, who said credit grabbers, energy drainers, and all of that, the more we need to understand that the more you are giving attention to adversity, toxicity, credit grabbers, energy drainers, and so on, the way you speak about it is going to breathe life into that very concept. Does it make sense? Read good intentions and change the concept of change the way you speak about. So The first point, there are 2 points I'm going to share with you in order for you to be able to deal with the situation. Remember, for those who are joining us at this point in time, we are talking about the situation where somebody at work, in a meeting, or in a function is trying to come across and taking full credit for a project that you did together, or probably that you did the best part of it, or you did the heavy lifting in it. So, first of all, let us remember language defines our word. Ziba, good, good job. You are learning and implementing and summarizing very fast. So summarize this one, Ziba, and everyone who is, because when you type up, it creates a neural pathways. It creates like a pathway for you to start thinking about this thing we are discussing differently. So if you wanted this concept to stick to your mind, or at least you sow the seed, if like Lamise said, she doesn't know how, and until she knows, she's not going to tackle it. So here's a day, Lamise, today where you're going to take two steps that are actually going to help you reframe this situation and deal with it without the feeling of embarrassment or putting anybody on the spot or anything. So first of all, reframe adversity. You say, how do I reframe it? See, the language we use, and we use to describe people, to describe situation, defines how we interact with them. It defines how we interact with them and determines the outcomes of the communication with them. So our language, I'm a linguist, I'm a language teacher. So in linguistics, we study how language defines reality, how the language we use defines reality. For example, you may be saying, "Oh, my colleague is bossy. She is stubborn. She is unfocused." You see, what's going to happen using these words, bossy, stubborn, or unfocused, is just going to determine how they show up in your life. If you focus on bossy, if you focus on stubborn, if you focus on unfocused, guess what? You are going to see more instances, more opportunities, more incidents, more evidence that this person is bossy, that this person is unfocused, that this person is stubborn, for example. So the way, because what we give attention to is the energy is going to flow in there and it's going to magnify it. So here is how to reframe our language. Reframing our language is very, very important. From critical and negative to accepting and positive. You say, even when my boss is bossy, I say, yes, let's reframe it. Let's reframe. So instead of saying bossy, my boss is so bossy, so is micromanaging. So reframing adversity. It defines how we interact. So instead of saying bossy, say she is a natural leader. Natural leader means she leads, you know. So now what we've done is we shifted our attention from a negative concept or a negative connotation or a negative meaning into something positive and something more accepting. What you say, accepting of what? We accept that people are different. We accept that people may have different ways of doing the same thing. Hello, Zainab Joub. Hello, good evening. Instead of saying, for example, stubborn, my colleague is so stubborn. Okay, this stubborn, when you use it, it's going to give you more instances of that. So, say, for example, she is persistent, she is determined, she is steadfast. You see what I mean? So, see, we are saying the same thing, is that she doesn't let go. She is so on, her opinion or her. So instead of saying stubborn, say persistent, determined, steadfast. Okay? How about unfocused? Ziba, I learned a very important lesson today. How come I never thought of this? Okay, there is a beginning for everything. Don't beat yourself, Ziba. You are a very fast learner, as a matter of fact. So, replace unfocused. Unfocused, for example, you have a friend who is, but some people achieve good stuff even while doing that. So instead of pinpointing that she is unfocused, say she loves multitasking, or she loves paying attention to different things at the same time. You see what I mean? So now, here, what we've done, we've reframed our language, and you are going to be shocked at how reframing your language about a situation or a person. This, of course, applies to situations, conditions, circumstances, and people. I'm using this example, how to reframe our language, to reframe the way we see the world, the way you see your career or your workplace, and so on. Instead of seeing it as a toxic environment, you can see it as a place where there is, you see what I mean? So here are some examples where, now we shifted our attention from the negative and the negative and not so from the negative and the critical to the positive and the accepting. So this is the first thing. Reframe your language about, in other words, just be nice. No, it's describe the same thing differently. Describe the same thing differently, Ziba. We can describe the exact same thing, but from different perspective. For example, if you say she is unfocused, we bring a judgment that maybe she's not going to achieve things quickly. Like if you are somebody who is focused, you're going to say, oh, she's not going, but you'd be surprised. Today, we have research for attention deficit kids and attention deficit students and attention deficit even employees, and they are some of the brightest people and some of the brightest people in terms of achieving, even though they may not be able to focus for long stretches of time, but the genius in them and so on and so forth is absolutely incredible. So unfocused brings an element of judgment to it. Okay, so change it. Does it make sense? Can you tell me if it makes sense in the chat? Can you? Suad Al Subehi, hello, creative. Yes, some people do things creatively in their own way. I mean, I can tell you about a very particular example, which is my daughter. And, my daughter would go zen about preparing for exams or about anything. And I start stressing out, even if she's preparing to go to the airport, to catch a plane or something, she is your 90-minute girl. I mean, she would be the last minute thing, procrastinator, probably unfocused, if you will. And guess what? But in the 90-minute, she would go and play a good, with friends and so on. And she comes and she just scrolls through her copybook, and the next day she has one of the best grades, at school. And she catches the plane, and in that 30 minutes before the plane is leaving, she's so focused, on how to, and she makes it. I came to accept I'm not going to, kind of oblige her or make her do things my way, because she went to the best schools in Paris. She went to, the Paris School of Business, made it with honors. She went to Esliska School of Business. And who am I to fight these two who are showing that her grades are absolutely, amazing. So that means she is achieving, right? In her own way, not my way, but that's fine. So I guess you got this point, okay? So reframe the language that we use. Okay, the second thing, we come back to the meeting. First of all, we need to stand up for ourselves. We are not going to let pass the opportunity, but you say, how do I do it? Okay, the first thing is to build this. Of course, it's not going to happen in one day or one night or in one instance. What you're going to do is you repeat it to yourself that if I don't stand up for myself, you know my I'm going to get less and less of self-confidence, and this is going to have an impact on my career, on how I show up in other meetings, and so on and so forth. Because I guarantee you, you do it once or you let it pass once, very likely you will continue to do it thereafter. Okay, so that's number one. What do we want to do? So here's what you want to do. Don't let the moment pass. That's number one. Can you please type it up? Don't let the moment pass. Number one. Number two, confidence. How do we come across as saying it confidently and not coming out of defensiveness or self-defensive, or out of taking away something from her? No, you don't want that. You want to come across as really self-confident. So what you want to do is you are going to eye contact is key in these situations. So if you are going to say things while shying away or anything, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. You want to lock in eye contact. You want to lock in eye contact, not staring, but lock in eye contact with the key people in the meeting. Who are the key people in the meeting? Where this thing, you want to lock in eye contact with them. Okay, lock in with eye contact with them, and then what you want to do, you want to smile, and you want to confidently, yet not like arrogantly or negatively. You want to smile and confidently, yet warmly, because we need to show empathy. We need to show empathy even when somebody is failing on something or is failing in terms of acknowledging others and so on. You are expected also to show empathy. So you want to smile, you want to confidently yet warmly say, my colleague did the initial needs analysis for the project, or did the SWOT analysis for the project, or my colleague did the experimental part of the project, while I engaged with the clients, or I engaged with the main stakeholders in our company, with the following up and the implementation with the key providers or the key stakeholders. For example, you want to say something like this. First, acknowledge what she did. Acknowledge what she did. She did da 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 da. She did the needs analysis. She did the SWOT analysis. She did the experimental part. She did the purchase. She did whatever you want. And then while I engaged, and then mention what you did and how you contributed to the to the project. Does it make sense, everyone? Does it make sense? Tell me. Hey, Annabella, don't let the moment pass. Yes, it makes sense. Body language matters. Of course, in this particular case, it's Zainab Joub. It matters, and especially eye contact. In a meeting, it's eye contact. Stand up for yourself, reframe your language, eye contact, smile, show empathy, confidently and warmly say, she did da 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 da, acknowledge her, and while I did da 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 da. Okay, so that's how you reframe adversity, and how you reframe, or how you stand up and show up for yourself in instances of adversity in the workplace. Was this helpful? Give me the thumbs up. Give me a yes. Give me a yes, yes. And amazing. Awesome. 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 So a while ago, like probably 2 weeks ago, this is my latest PDF. I created a PDF with the 10 career accelerators. There are tips that we can do to accelerate our career path. If you haven't grabbed a copy, make a point of mentioning hashtag PDF or hashtag accelerator, and we will make a point of sharing with you the 10 career accelerator tips. How about that? My favorite list. Those are the top 10 tips for accelerating your career. Thank you, everyone. I need to hop off the call, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, Saturday night at 8 p.m. KSA. 8 p.m. KSA, we go live and we discuss different topics related to your career, related to your career advancement, how to make a big jump in career, and especially the step by step process. Thank you, everyone, and have a great, great evening. Bye bye.